Hi, everyone. Today, I am absolutely thrilled to be talking with Amiee Buckley. Amiee has been a special education teacher for 25 years, and she's a third-degree black belt and a founder and the CEO of Study Help Incorporated.
Thank
Welcome
you
to the
for
program,
inviting me.
Amiee.
I'm really excited to be here. Since I scheduled this session with you to chat, it really had me thinking a lot about the things that bring me joy in life. And I think what a perfect time to be focused on the things that bring us joy. I have a lot of friends that watch or listen to the murder podcasts. It's
Yes,
like, what if we listen to podcasts that make us think about good, happy things?
yes,
Right? And get that going. And
yes,
we always hear about, thinking about things that bring us gratitude,
yes.
how that changes our attitude. And I think it's the same thing about thinking about things that bring us joy.
Mhm.
Those ideas pop in your head and you just can feel yourself be uplifted. So what a
Yes.
wonderful idea for a podcast. I'm super excited to be a part of this.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, that's exactly right. I was thinking the same thing, thinking like, why in the world do we want to focus on all the murder and mayhem and bad stuff out there? Let's focus on things that make us feel good. So it is
Yes.
so much fun to talk about things that light us up and just connect on that level. So yeah, I just really appreciate you being willing to share some stuff with us. But before we get into it, I just want to know a little bit, if you could share with our listeners a little bit more about you, about
Okay.
yourself, what you do. Maybe what is a little bit more detail about what is Study Help and how you
Mhm.
came to be its founder and CEO.
Oh, thank you. So Study Help is a tutoring platform, and we connect credentialed teachers with students and families who are looking for extra help.
Mhm.
And one of the things the thing I love most about being a teacher is the interactions with my students and watching them grow and learn and stretch.
Mhm.
And I love that I have this time
Mhm.
that is only for them,
Mhm.
where I'm not worrying about what administrators are saying or what the expectations are for the classroom. I can really just focus on their individual growth and development and
Mhm.
understanding and developing the skill.
Mhm.
And if they want to talk about when was the first boat built, we can do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking, oh, I have to hit these objectives today.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful opportunity
Mhm.
for students to have that time with a
Mhm.
teacher
Mhm.
who understands the curriculum, knows what they're doing. They didn't just go through the class, they
Yeah.
teach the class. And
Okay.
I know that as a teacher, I feel like those 56 minutes is
Mhm.
not enough with each one of my students.
Mhm.
And having a separate opportunity where I can just spend that hour one to one with a student is just so special and wonderful. And I leave those sessions and I feel charged and rejuvenated and happy. And, I always have a story or two. I have one little guy that I see, and when we say goodbye as aliens. We have our alien goodbye. And how do you not walk away from that
Yes.
feeling really good?
Yes.
So the best part about being a teacher is engaging with the students. And if as a teacher those relationships aren't the most important thing to you,
Mhm.
then maybe you're not in the right profession.
Yes.
Maybe you
Well,
should be a researcher.
yeah. Well, it sounds like what you're describing is basically you are helping them tap into their joy, or you guys are kind of tapping in it together because you have the time and the space to allow that. So
Mhm.
that's amazing.
And follow their creative path,
Yeah.
right? So learning about the information and taking something that was something that they dread,
Yes.
like, oh, I see Miss Amiee to work on my English,
Yes.
but then the time is over and they're like, oh, the time is over. So so it's something that they look forward to. It's
Yeah.
not something their parents are dragging them oh, you have
Okay.
to be tutored, oh,
Right.
I get to be tutored.
Woo!
So, I'd say that's a big bonus. And
Yeah.
when kids are talking about, oh, when do I get to see you again? Like,
Yes.
that's really good.
Yes. Yes. That's amazing. Yeah. And
Mhm.
time flies when you're having fun, no doubt.
It really does. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Wow. Okay. Well, how do you define joy? Is it a thought, a feeling, action, all three, something else? What do you
I,
think?
for me, I'd say it's that feeling in your heart and in your soul where you're just that inner happiness that comes out in your personality, in your facial expressions. When people interact with you, they can feel that. And if someone interacts with you and they're having a bad day,
Mhm.
that feeling of joy that you bring to that conversation can kind of change their mood too,
Yes.
because it exudes from you as an individual.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Yeah, joy has this way of being infectious in a good
Mhm.
way, I think.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most wonderful things about children is that they bring so much joy.
Hmm.
I'm running a summer camp now for my Kung Fu schools, and there's this one little girl who she walks in, and I'm like, hello, hello, happiness. She takes her bangs and she puts two rubber bands, and she's got a unicorn horn. And I'm just like, please do
Oh,
not change that,
I love
because
that.
every time I look at you, I'm going to smile.
Yes,
And I just was like, I just love you.
yes,
Just be you. You
that's
be
right.
you, because you are making everyone around you be
Yes,
themselves,
yes, yes. I think
right?
kids are really good at that. They're not hung up
Mm-hmm.
as sometimes we adults are, as what other
Mm-hmm.
people think are going to get judged. They don't care. They're just, like you said, they are doing them. That is
Mm-hmm.
perfect. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. So I think you kind of talked a little bit already, but just to kind of formally ask you, what brings you joy and when do you feel the most joy?
Well, my students bring me a lot of joy.
Mhm.
My family, my friends. I think for me, it's that interaction
Mhm.
that you have with other people
Yeah.
when you're moving in a positive direction
Mhm.
and allowing people to express themselves who they really are.
Mhm.
Um, my niece, we were in Colorado, and she likes the Boxcar Children, that book.
Uh-huh.
And in the book, they were eating clams or oysters, and she's 6 and decided that she wanted to try an oyster.
Oh, wow. That's brave.
I was dying, tears rolling down my face. She's like, this is slimy, it's like dribbling down. I mean, but how brave was she that she,
Yeah.
like, and even after she decided that this was the most disgusting thing in the world, she still ate half of it, because she was
Wow.
like, if the Boxcar Children are going to do it, I'm going to do it. I have the best video that my sister-in-law took of me, because it was hilarious.
That's
Her
awesome.
little face.
Right. I can imagine the puckering, like, oh
Yeah,
God, what
like,
have
oh, it's
what have I
slimy.
done? Not knowing whether she should swallow it or spit it out, probably,
Right,
right?
right.
That's great. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. So that's amazing. You've spoken about your students and how much joy they bring you and how much joy it sounds like you guys have together.
Mhm.
And you also mentioned maybe your family also brings you joy. That was such a great story, but I'm going to ask you for another one because I love your story. So, how about a story about a time when you were maybe on vacation with your family, or another story from your business that's
Okay.
a really fun time you
Mhm.
had?
So I teach special ed, so I have a lot of students that are very neurodiverse.
Okay.
So what I would normally expect them to say
Mhm.
isn't necessarily what they say. And that, I think, is a wonderful gift to the world. You know, a wonderful gift to the world. So I'm going to give you two stories.
Okay.
So the first one, so I teach high school.
Mhm.
So, you know, in my classroom, all of the students are intellectually, they are of average intelligence.
Okay.
But they are neurodiverse in that they have ADHD or they have dyslexia or they're autistic. So their view of the world is a little different,
Okay.
right? So I had a girl in there, and you know, she's a high school girl and cares about how she looks, and she turns to the young man next to her who is autistic and says, "How do I look?" And what do you think he said?
Oh God, I have no idea. Maybe something like amazing, or maybe he probably told the truth. Maybe he didn't like it.
He said, "With your eyes."
That's
How do I look? With your
great.
eyes.
Oh, very to the point, practical.
Very to the point. Very to the point. So I also teach life skills, and part of my math class that I teach the kids, we always start with a life skills problem on the board, and the kids do it, and then we talk about it. And one day we were talking about, what do you do if you're at a restaurant or a store and you get the wrong change? Right? So what I'm looking for is you say politely, "Excuse me, I think that you gave me the wrong amount of change. You didn't give me enough." And this one little girl raises her hand, and to her, money just, you know, she doesn't, it's a foreign language.
Okay.
It doesn't really have meaning to her. So she raises her hand, and I'm like, okay. So I call on her and say, "So what do you do if they don't give you the right change? If they've given you $5 and you should get 15?" And she says, "I would say, keep the change." I was like, you probably would. You probably would say that. And I was like, what a nice way to view the world. You know, like she wouldn't get mad. She wouldn't say, "Oh, you gave me the wrong amount." Keep the change.
Just keep it. That's beautiful.
Okay. Keep the change.
That's so awesome.
You have to love them. You have to love them.
Absolutely. You know? Oh my gosh.
Like if you just relax and you listen and you don't expect the usual, there is so much like wonderful interactions that you can have. And that's one of the things I love about neurodiversity is that the way I see the world, and then I see them and how they see the world, and it's such a wonderful, unique viewpoint. You know, to like have this totally different, to see the same situation from a totally different viewpoint. You know, and then it's like, oh, that does make sense.
It does, totally.
You know, it totally makes sense. It's not the expected answer, but it's not a wrong answer. It's just a different answer. Yeah.
Totally different perspective, and it's a beautiful one.
Right.
Yeah. What a gift. What a gift you have to be able to work with these students.
I really agree with that. If teaching was only about teaching, it would be the best job on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, teachers have it pretty tough just because of all the other things that bring us down. But when it comes to like the pure teaching, that is the joy. And that is why so many people do it, even with all of these other hardships that are thrown at us. It's like the core of what your focus is. It's so beautiful and wonderful. And you know, I have my students from the time they're freshmen to seniors, and one way or another, I get to see them change and grow. Not in the same classes, but you know, they start as freshmen and I see them leave as seniors. And their families invite me over to their graduation parties,
Oh,
and I get to
nice.
they follow me on social media, and we're friends, and I've seen them have families and get married and buy houses and start businesses. And I'm like,
Wow.
who else gets to do
Wow.
that?
I
Right?
know, right? That's so true. What a gift. They give you so much. I mean, you give them a lot too, and I don't mean to imply that, but it just sounds like they give you so much love and joy. That's
They
amazing.
do. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Okay, fair enough.
Every so often they give me a really hard time, but most of the time they're pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, oh my gosh. Wow. How beautiful. That's great. Wow, I'm just smiling from ear to ear. This is so cool. Oh, okay. But I do want to ask you about a time in your life maybe that brought you so much pleasure you wish you could repeat it.
You know, there have been quite a few times in my life that have been like that.
Mhm.
Um, every summer, I run a summer camp
Mhm.
for my kung fu school,
Mhm.
and I love it when the kids get picked up. You
Mhm.
know, they run to their parents and they'll say, "This was the best day of my whole entire life." You know, and you're like, okay, well, you're 7. So, but I'm still happy it's the best day of your whole entire life,
Yes.
you know?
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. How long is the camp? Is it all summer or is it just a
We do 3 weeks, but
okay.
each week has different students in it. You know, I'd say another time was when I got married,
Mhm.
and I was just, you know, so excited about I got married in Greece,
Oh,
and we
nice.
did like a destination because look, I have a huge family. And when I
Okay.
say huge, my mom has 6 brothers and 6 sisters.
Oh my
I
gosh.
have like 50 cousins. So a destination wedding was kind of the way to go,
Okay.
right? Because you can invite everyone, but
Mhm.
only the people who like really want to go
Yeah.
come. And I just remember I was so excited just to be there. And, you know, we're on this caldera and my family is there, that I was
Mhm.
like, I might pass out.
No.
Like, you know, you feel that popping inside of you of like excitement and
Yes.
joy and
Yes.
happiness. And it's like almost to the point of like too much.
Yeah.
I was like, I might need to sit down here for a second and like calm myself down. But that was a fantastic day. I
Yeah.
would, yeah. You know, there's times when you wish that life was like, you know, Netflix or something. You just
Right.
boop 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 boop,
Yeah. Yes.
rewind it, and then like the bad parts, you could just like fast forward. Okay, or you could fast forward it, make sure it's going to be okay, and
Right.
then go back and do it.
Yes.
Like a good book
Yes.
where you get like so worried about
Mhm.
the main character that
Yes.
you like go to the end. Okay,
Yes.
they're going
Yes.
to be okay, so
Right.
I can read this
I
book.
could read. That's right. I do that too. I love that analogy. If life can be like Netflix, that's great.
Mhm. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
I don't like this show.
Right, exactly. Change the channel. I don't
Mhm.
like talking to you. Boop, you're gone. Oh, that's great. Or if you could rewind it and relive it, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Just the good parts, right?
Just the good parts. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think we can get too much of the good stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great. So, okay, so that's a lot of good stuff. There must have been times where you were feeling down, as we all do. So, when
Mhm.
those times happen, how do you bring yourself back up, or how do you, lift yourself out of that?
You know, that's a really interesting question, and there is a story that I tell a lot of people. There was a time in my life when I needed to have my gallbladder removed,
Okay.
and I was really like afraid to eat anything that had any kind of fat in it because there would be a lot of pain. And, and I would see people out running and I was like, oh man, I wish I could do that. But I was afraid to like be out anywhere just in case. And we would go out to dinner and I'd have my like plain chicken breast, It was like really depressing. They would be having their dessert and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a wet towel. I don't want to be like, you can't have dessert because I'm not having dessert. And one day I was sitting on the couch and one of those Save the Children commercials came on and I was like, I'm a schmuck. I'm sitting here like feeling sorry for myself because I can't have everything I want, but I can still have thousands of amazingly delicious items, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to starve to death. I'm not one of these, families that are not getting enough food. I'm getting enough food. I just can't have the things that are like,
decadent,
right?
Right.
And that just totally reset my perspective where I was like, you're being a jerk. You need to get over yourself. Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
You have a totally reversible condition. You're going to have surgery. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Grow up. Right? It wasn't like something wonderful happened. It was like, I saw that, that perspective of, there are millions, probably billions of people on the planet that have it harder than you. So,
yes.
Let's look at all the things that you do have and all the opportunities that you do have.
Yes.
And focus on that.
Yes. And mindset is so important, isn't it? It's whatever we tell ourselves can make such a difference in the way we feel.
Yeah. It was like instant.
That's right? Amazing. Like a switch went off or something. The power of the mind. Oh my gosh.
Right. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a powerful tool that we don't always recognize that we're using it one way or the other. So we kind of need to pay a little bit more attention, as it sounds like you did in that story. It made all the difference in the world.
It did,
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Good. Okay. So I'm also really curious. I know you've spoken a lot about all this good stuff and good times and joy that you've had. How about a time when you just erupted into spontaneous laughter? Like you just couldn't control it. It just went whoop and came out.
There are, I'm not like a huge laughter person. I don't really laugh that often.
Okay.
It's not that I don't think things are funny. It just isn't like naturally a part of me. It's not that I'm not a happy person. I would say that 80% of the time I'm a very happy person. But there are certain people who they tell me a story and I can't breathe. I've got the tears rolling down my face. And like certain kids do that too. I was my 6-year-old niece wanted to roller skate, and I wish that I could show you. So I'm holding on to her. She's like holding on to me, and like her feet kept going forward, and she's like holding on. I'm like, you have to keep your feet under you. And then she pull back, and then she pull forward, and I'm holding on to her, and I'm just like, it just, I mean. Like you can't make this stuff up, right?
No, not at all.
They put it in movies, but it's like contrived. But in real life, you're like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
this is hilarious. Like she makes me laugh. Some people who have like, they tell a story and they're so like almost dry about it.
Yeah.
That they're not telling it like it's a funny story. They're just like telling it, and it's just like, okay, I'm done.
Right. Laugh so hard, your tummy hurts, your face hurts.
Can't breathe. I get the tears. My eyes water so hard because I'm just
can't breathe.
Can't breathe. Uh-huh.
Those are the good ones. Oh my gosh. They're like the whole body laughter.
My best friend's son does that to me all the time.
Hmm.
All the time. He's almost a doctor at this point, but I've
Hmm.
known him since he was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
And he would tell these stories. And like he told this one about this really shouldn't have been funny, but he would told a story about his soccer team flying to this tournament and like
Hmm.
someone got sick and was throwing up in the aisle and
Oh
like
no.
it's like it should be a terrible story, right? But
Right.
the way he told it, I was just like, oh my God. That it's like in the Goonies movie.
Hmm.
Did you see that where he talks
Hmm.
about dumping the fake barf? And yeah, it shouldn't be funny,
Right.
but it is,
But
right?
it is. Yeah. It some people just have that gift. They
They
just have a
do.
way, and it's hilarious. Yeah. Wow. I think that would be one of the Netflix time that you might want to
Mm-hmm.
rewind and play again because
Mm-hmm.
it was so good.
Yeah.
If we could do that. Wow, that's amazing. Maybe you said he's gonna almost a doctor. Maybe he'll do some stand-up comedy or something.
Maybe.
That's
Maybe
great.
he'll just make his patients feel better.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. That's much needed.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, well, I think you've kind of maybe answered this one as well because you've spoken a lot about your teaching and how much fun that is. But is there anything else that puts you into the flow state that just, you know, things are just easy, you feel productive when you're just kind of in that zone?
Mm-hmm. You know, I'd say the last thing that I haven't talked about is practicing kung fu
Hmm.
and tai chi.
Hmm.
And there's times in that movement
Hmm.
when it isn't about working out,
Okay.
it's about the joy of moving.
Yes.
And that is what I love about what I do in terms of martial arts
Hmm.
is that self-expression, that joy of moving,
Hmm.
where you do something and when you're done, like you're out of breath and your heart rate is up, but you feel like energized,
Oh,
right? Like you're not like, oh, that was so
yeah.
hard. It was
Yeah.
like, you feel like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that was really good.
Hmm.
And that sense of like moving through the air and,
Hmm.
you know, in martial arts, we talk about chi, which
Hmm.
is, that feel, that inner soul. I mean, chi basically means wind, but
Hmm.
that sense of moving the energy around,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have. I've practiced kung fu since 1996.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
Yeah, and at the same school,
Hmm.
and I've had the great opportunity to travel to Brazil,
Oh.
Argentina,
Hmm.
Singapore, Thailand, China,
Oh
Taiwan,
my gosh.
Germany, like 4 tournaments.
Uh-huh.
And my martial arts family
Hmm.
is all around the world.
Hmm.
And so, what is so wonderful is we have these tournaments, and you travel to these other countries or
Hmm.
other places in the United States, and they take you to their places.
Oh.
So you're
Okay.
not getting like the typical tourist,
Yes.
right? Like
Right.
you're going to their favorite restaurants and
Yes.
their favorite places and getting that real feel of the environment
Yeah.
and you get to do kung fu when you do it.
Oh my
You
gosh.
get to meet all these wonderful people,
Yep.
and it's such a great opportunity to interact with people from other countries. and
Hmm.
and even in the United States, there's so many different personalities that are
Yep.
drawn to martial arts
Yep.
that it's very diverse in terms of like backgrounds and occupations and ancestry and everything. So
Hmm.
I love it,
Yeah.
you know.
That sounds
That has been a
amazing.
great gift in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I love about it is how I started martial arts was when I was in college, and before that, I did dance. I
Mm-hmm.
did modern dance, and I did it academically in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I graduated, there wasn't really an opportunity for that where I was, and I was like, okay, well, how can I do movement?
Yeah.
Right? That's not like going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a coupon
Oh, wow.
in one of those flyers that comes in your mailbox.
Right.
And when I think about where would I have be at this point if I hadn't found that stupid coupon,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
it's really interesting how like something that you would think of as so insignificant
Yes.
can totally
Yep.
change the trajectory of your life.
Exactly.
I
Yep.
mean, I met my husband through Kung Fu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, these people are at my house all the time, these Kung Fu people. Sometimes they're there and I'm not even there. They're just there. They have the keys. They come over.
That's great. So your family just got larger.
Yes, we like large families, so we just keep growing.
You keep adding, right? Keep adding more.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, I'm curious what you said with the Kung Fu. Is it kind of like when athletes speak of the zone, when you reach that zone, is
Mhm.
that kind of what you're referencing there, talking about?
Yeah, there's a certain sense of expression
Mm-hmm.
that in Kung Fu we have things called forms or katas,
Mm-hmm.
and you are expressing yourself in that movement.
Okay.
So it's a choreographed series of moves. So if you think
Mm-hmm.
of like a dance routine,
Okay.
it would be similar to that,
Mm-hmm.
only it's the martial arts
Yeah.
version of
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of expressing from the inside out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's really interesting how as an audience member,
Mm-hmm.
you can feel it. I can feel it
Mm-hmm.
when I look at people and they are performing and
Okay.
it's exuding from the inside of them. So it's not just the way their body is moving, but
Mm-hmm.
also that like self-expression
Mm-hmm.
that you can feel,
Yeah.
right? That you can feel their chi
Yes.
as they move.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me goosebumps right now even thinking about it, because
Uh-huh.
that is how I feel when I watch it
Mm-hmm.
and somebody is just like expressing, you
Yes.
know.
Yes. Yes. So it's really about the movement of energy, is
Mm-hmm.
is what you're saying. Okay. Okay. Because I don't know, it's maybe just my ignorance, but martial arts sometimes makes me think, oh, it's about the fighting,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not how you're describing it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're describing it more about the movement of energy, the flow, the
Mm-hmm.
body. It's connecting with all of that. It's a very different way of understanding it, I think.
Yeah, and there are some types of martial arts that are all about the fighting,
Okay.
like MMA, which isn't actually a martial art, just,
Okay.
like mixed martial art. They're taking bits and pieces, but
Yeah.
there's like jujitsu, which is all the wrestling, and taekwondo, which is a fighting style. It was
Mm-hmm.
developed for tournament type situations,
Mm-hmm.
but kung fu, which is what I do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, it's probably like 6,000 years old, right?
Yes. Right.
And fighting is a very small part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people don't ever do any of that,
Okay.
right? And they're
Right.
still studying Kung Fu. It's
Mm-hmm.
still totally legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Tai Chi is
Yeah.
it's very slow, but
Yes.
they are self-defense movements.
Okay.
And you're like moving your chi through the air,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Um, but they do have application.
Okay.
There is still application. You just aren't doing it on someone. A lot of times in Tai Chi, we will do the application on each other very slowly so that you understand oh, you're blocking,
Ah, yes.
so that you understand what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't, obviously you want to know what the application is, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be,
Yes.
the fighting part.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it sounds like it really allows you to tap into your core, maybe to
Mhm.
that flow of energy. So having that experience, how do you think that translates into the rest of your life? Like, how does being able to tap into that and that good feeling, that flow, help you be more
Mhm.
successful in your life?
So personally, I would say I am a very emotional person. Like I feel things very deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and martial arts has helped me be able to separate the mental
Mm-hmm.
part of a situation from the emotional,
Okay.
so that when things happen that are highly stressful or would make me very angry,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't necessarily know that
Mm-hmm.
by what's on the outside,
Okay.
because intellectually I'm thinking, okay, responding in this situation in a angry manner is
Mm-hmm.
not going to resolve it.
Okay.
And my first goal
Mm-hmm.
is to find a solution,
Okay.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're in a situation and eh, you know,
Right.
like I was, my mom made me this like special lunch one time, and
Mm-hmm.
like for my birthday, and I brought it to work and I was carrying it, and there's this big kid, and he's nonverbal, he's not in my class, but I love this kid, and he always kind of runs up on you,
Oh.
like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, and he like ran up, and he always stops
Mm-hmm.
before he reaches you, but he
Okay.
didn't. And my special lunch
Oh
just went
no.
everywhere, and I was like,
Oh.
okay, I
Oh.
need to clean up, and then I need to get an alternative lunch.
Oh
He didn't mean
no.
to do it.
No, yeah, not at all.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you have
Right.
that moment where you're like so sad, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, my special lunch. But,
Oh.
it was
Yeah.
unintentional. And,
Right.
getting like reacting in that moment
Yeah.
would have really upset him.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have made me feel any better,
Mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't have solved the problem.
Right. Right.
Right. So martial arts has really helped me to, in situations where I might get angry,
Mm-hmm.
or I might get like overwhelmed with stress,
Mm-hmm.
that being able to like separate that emotional piece from the mental piece.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not having those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that would be terrible. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to not feel those things,
Right.
but I want to manage that using my brain,
Yeah.
so that you know
Yes.
we're solution oriented,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It sounds like it gives you that space to
Mm-hmm.
separate it out, and that space to not go into immediate reaction. You have that
Mm-hmm.
moment or that time or that pause.
Mm-hmm.
You go, okay.
Okay. It's okay.
It is
It's
okay.
okay. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Wow. That's what a 6,000-year-old tradition can
Mm-hmm.
teach us, huh? They
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom.
A lot of wisdom passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Wow, what a gift. That's another gift that you
I
have. Oh
know.
my gosh.
I appreciate the fact that I am an incredibly lucky person every day. And it's not like forced. It's not like forced gratitude. Like,
Yeah.
think about the things that you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
I just do. I'm like, oh, well, I'm so lucky that I live in a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
I have wonderful community around me. I have this opportunity to do something I love every
Mm-hmm.
day and
Yes.
interact with this like very diverse population.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people love me and I love them. And isn't that the most important thing?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That is such a blessing. Yes.
And I'm so glad we can hug people again.
Yes, I know, right?
Yay for hugs.
Yay.
Yay for hugs. I've got a new one that I'm trying out. It's the washing machine hug.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to share it with you so that you can do it too. So you
Please.
grab on and then you just wiggle like that.
Uh-huh.
And let me tell you, yeah, you wiggle them like that. And it's like, you want to hear people laugh, they're going to laugh, right? They love it. They can feel that pressure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm going to try that. That's awesome.
Yes. Try it out. Do the
it.
washing machine hug.
Washing machine hug. Good. Oh, amazing. Good stuff. Okay, so you've just shared actually one of the routines that you had. You spoke of being grateful. Are there any other, like maybe daily routines or habits that you have that help you connect with your joy? Or
I really try and make sure that every day, even when we were stuck in our houses, that I am connecting with people that I care about in some fashion or not, and getting outside, you know, like just breathing the air and
yes,
looking at the sunrise or the sunset. On my way to work, I go on this flyover, and I live right by a mountain. And so when I'm going to work, the sun is generally rising. And I make it a point that every day when I go on that flyover that I look at the mountain, because every day it's different.
Wow.
And every day it's beautiful. And every so often I get in my head and I miss it. And then I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That was like your thing. That was your moment, right?
Yes.
And then I have to find a different moment. But that moment is how I kind of start my day on the way to work.
Okay.
Where, you know, you have that moment of appreciating the world around you.
Yes. And it's the little things that can make such a difference.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a huge deal. It's just like something so simple, and that just probably sets you up for the whole day. I mean, just feeling good. Yeah.
And you know, I don't even mind when there's traffic. I actually prefer a little traffic on there, so we're going a little bit slower and I have a little more time to look at the mountain. You know, like something that normally would make you it's like, okay, bring on the traffic.
That's great. I love that. Totally flip the perspective. So now you actually enjoy the traffic. Wow, that's magical. That's good. Wow. All right. Well, how about some tips maybe to help others find their joy?
So, you know, everyone is different. And that's one of the most important perspectives I have when I'm helping families on how to help their kids. And it's one of the most important things that I bring to my classroom is that I'm not going to have one answer. I'm not going to have one way to teach all of the kids. I need to find what their thing is. And then I go with it.
Okay.
Right? So like I had a student who was so into trains. Okay. And I could make anything about trains. Math, I can make it about trains. History, let's make it about trains. Right? Because that's how he connected. And guess what he does now?
He enjoys probably your teachings a lot more because you're making it relevant, making it something he enjoys.
He drives a train.
He drives
a train, and he has driven the train that goes past our school.
Oh, you mean actually that's his work?
That is his job now. He was in my class about 10 years ago, and now
got it.
Is living his dream, right?
That's amazing.
So, you know, in terms of finding your joy, I would say find what it is that speaks to you, and don't be afraid to try different things until you find the spark,
Yeah.
but also know that, you know, when it comes to like Kung Fu, I've definitely had my moments where I was like, this is hard, you know, I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get over those humps
Mm-hmm.
to move on to the next level.
Yeah.
So just because something gets hard doesn't mean that you should quit.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't give up
Mm-hmm.
too early. Because
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of people who are kind of like ships without a sail,
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, they try this and then they quit in a month, and they try this and they quit in a month. You have to give it a good, solid effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you try it the first time, you don't like it, well, maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
But you try it the first time and you love it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like 2 months later it gets hard and you're like, oh, well, you know, you just started.
Yeah.
So you need to like invest. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing for relationships, right? Like you have to invest in those relationships.
Definitely.
And know that there's going to be, I mean, my husband and I have been together for a long time. My entire adult life, pretty much, you know, more than half my life we've been together. And it's not that we haven't had difficult times.
Yeah.
It was that we didn't give up in those difficult times, right?
Right.
And thank God, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I love him to pieces, but what would have happened if I hadn't invested in, you know, making it through those difficult points?
Right. Because you never know, the next beautiful moment, the next moment of joy could be right around the corner. So if you give up too early, you don't get to experience it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, right? But then you also have to be willing to really invest in finding your joy, keeping your joy, working on the things that bring you joy, and not, you know, just say, oh, it's too hard.
It's too hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing worth really getting is going to come easy, right? Like you have to invest in it. Otherwise anyone would do it, and it wouldn't, you know, it's kind of like going to get an ice cream sundae. You know, like anyone can do it. Maybe it makes you happy for those couple minutes, right? But there's no lasting joy that came with that. Now, maybe you haven't seen your friend in 10 years and you're meeting up to have ice cream sundaes. That's an entirely different situation, right? Because yeah, you're having the ice cream sundae, but the point is the relationship.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think your point earlier too about not giving up too early, because there's that saying that the joy is in the journey, right? So even if one moment's a little hard, or there's going to be another one right around the corner. So keep going.
Yeah. There's so many people that I wish understood that, you know, especially in martial arts, because we get a lot of kids who are like, well, I'm not going to get my black belt before XYZ, so I'm just going to quit. And it's like, why are you going to quit? You love this.
Yep.
So what if you don't get your black belt by like this predetermined date?
Right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
It's not about, you know, the title or the plaque on the wall or what you tie around your waist. It's about the experience and the journey and the knowledge and the interactions. It's so, it like breaks my heart when kids do that. And I'm like, oh, you have, you know, you love this. What are you doing?
Right.
You know, their parents, oh, well, you have to have this thing to put on your college application. Well, what if you did something just because you loved it?
Right. Oh, what a novel concept that is.
Would that be the end of the world? I've so many children these days, because, you know, I work with the neurodiverse, but I also work with a lot of like really high achieving kids. And a lot of times their lives break my heart a little bit, because I'm like, where's your joy?
Yeah.
Where's your happiness?
Yes.
Where is doing the things that you love?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, that's really why we're here.
So you don't go to Yale.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that's not going to like You go to UC Berkeley instead of Yale. You think
Right.
your life is going to be so terrible?
Right. No, probably not.
Probably not. And to give up so many years in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
where they really, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't develop their brain in the right way
Uh-huh.
when they don't get to follow things just because they love them.
Right.
Everyone should have that in their life. Everybody should have at least one thing
Yes.
that they do just because they love it.
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
expect anything out of
Nope.
it. They just do it because it makes them happy.
That's right. It's
right?
fun and joyful. Exactly. I 100% agree with that. Yes. Yes. That's a really good tip. Everybody should have at least one. I love that.
That's my one and only tip for everybody, right? That everybody should have something in their life that they do just because they love it.
Yeah, just because. That's great.
You know what? So what if you're terrible at it?
Mm-hmm.
Embrace that. Embrace being terrible at it.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The outcome doesn't matter. It's the pleasure it brings you and the joy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God, Amiee, you're so much fun to talk to. I could talk to you all day. I know you don't have all day. So
I've really enjoyed this.
Me too. It's so much fun. Oh, you are so much fun, and you're so full of good tips and wisdom and stories. It's just so much a pleasure to talk with you and laugh with you.
Well, it's amazing that you decided to do this.
Yeah, it's fun, and it
Yeah.
just, I think it's needed. It's not something that's really getting a lot of airtime, I think, Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's balance out the murder mysteries with stories that make us laugh and smile.
Yes.
Bigger, right?
Exactly. Totally. Well, I know people are going to want to connect with you. Where can they connect with you, find out more about what you do?
Yeah, they can go on to study help. So it's you can just Google it, study.help.
Okay.
And there is a button for free consultation. And if they click on that, it will bring up a schedule and they can have a talk just like this with me about how we can help them support their student and be successful and have these great interactions with the teacher that's going to help them grow and just make learning fun and exciting and way less stressful, right? Because that's what we want it to be. Learning should be fun.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
It should not be something that brings kids to tears.
Mm-mm.
It should not. Mm-mm. If it does, this is my tip for parents who want to help their kids.
Okay.
It's great to help your kids. When you as a parent are getting angry or your child is getting really frustrated and starting to shut down, call in a professional. Because you should not be wasting your precious time with your child fighting about school. Yeah. And it's going to turn into a situation where the student gets turned off by that subject when maybe they might be just fine at it or actually excel at it if they weren't so stressed about it. There's anxiety about writing. There's anxiety about math, right? Yes. If we feed into that, it's just going to build and make it worse. And they're going to think, oh, well, I'm just bad at math. How many times do you hear kids that are like, well, I'm just bad at math? Yes. And it turns out they're not bad at math. Right. They just bring all this anxiety. So their brains cannot process what's going on because they're like, oh, I'm bad at this. Oh, I'm bad at this.
Right. Yes, that makes perfect sense. You can't learn as well if you're stressed out. You learn a lot better if you're relaxed, like you're saying, and having fun.
Yeah. So let us help you be successful.
Awesome. I love that. Amiee, thank you so much for being here today and talking with me. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. It was really wonderful.
Thank you. All right. Well, we'll sign off. Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate your time.